Salutations, my fellow dudes and dudettes. It is your host, Sonic 007, and I'm here to deliver you a blast from the past.
Developed by vicarious visions.
The screen speaks for itself.
It's Crash Bandicoot.
It is indeed. Welcome to my Let's Play of Crash Bandicoot, the Insane Trilogy. I know we haven't gotten to the title screen yet, but you already know what this is. Released in September 9th, 1996, Crash Bandicoot was a stellar hit on the platforming market. It was meant to rival games such as Sonic the Hedgehog and Super Mario, and for what it's worth, it did a really good job, especially being on a system that wasn't really meant for platformers. I feel like the PlayStation 1 was better suited for RPGs, and I guess racing games would be a good choice. But with this Let's Play, we're going to be tackling the first of these mini games with the remake that was beautifully gifted to us a few years ago. I can't remember the date off the top of my head, but I remember seeing the E3 trailer with this, and I freaked out because I was like, yes, I'm so excited for this because Crash Bandicoot is a huge part of my childhood. Not the first game though. I'll go into that as we go along this playthrough. Anyway, let's start new game. Yeah, overwrite save. I know there's 4 files available, but it's not like it matters in the grand scheme of things. I'm the only one who really plays this. The loading screens suck, though.
But, Dr. Cortex, we haven't determined the cause of past failures.
Moron! This Bandicoot will be my general. He will lead my Cortex commandos to world domination. This time, I shall reign triumphant. We are closer than ever before. Quickly, into the vortex.
Dr. Cortex, the vortex is not ready. We have no idea what it could do.
Failure again. Capture him!
Uh-oh.
Prepare the female Bandicoot.
Alright, starting off, we're beginning the journey at Insanity Beach. I can only assume Crash jumped out of the tower and sort of fell into the ocean and drifted all the way out here, because spoiler warning, this the island we're on is like one of 3 islands, and I'm surprised Crash even survived, considering later on we find out that Crash can't swim, so I'm not sure how that logic works, and it makes me think, wait, so Crash can survive in water? So why the heck do I die later on? Anyway, Crash Bandicoot is a 3D platformer. It does also have some 2D elements to it, like it's a 2D platformer and a 3D platformer in one. You could probably compare it for talking about recent games. I guess Sonic Forces would be a good choice, even though that game's not all that great. The shield that I'm carrying is called Aku Aku. He's your guardian for this game. He's also your shield because Crash can only take 1 hit before he croaks. The point of Aku Aku is to shield you from all sorts of attacks. Ah, dang it. Oh. I wasted the invincibility. When you collect an Aku Aku mask, when you already have one, you essentially get a second shield, and I just lost it. Stupid me. And if you get 3, and it begins. And if you get 3, you get the invincibility that I just showed earlier, which enables you to go faster, and you're untouchable by everything except, like, obviously pitfalls. Maybe? No, I don't think crushing does it. I don't think crushing causes... Yeah, I don't think crushing does any damage if you're invincible. It's like my inner Sonic the Hedgehog talking. Anyways, Crash can jump like your every other platformer, but Crash's defining feature is the ability to spin. He can spin enemies, boxes to open them up, and that's really it. This is Crash 1, so his abilities are very limited, unfortunately. Not to say that's a bad thing, because this game does work around it, but it's also got its fair share of archaic feels to it, as we'll see further down this road, because my experience with Crash Bandicoot 1 is very minimalistic. I've only ever played this version of Crash. I did not grow up with the original Crash 1 for the PlayStation. That game would be Crash Bandicoot 2, and I want to say a year or two later it would be Crash 3. Like, those were my childhood games. Unfortunately, I skimmed over this. I also played a good chunk of Crash Team Racing and a bit of Crash Bash. But I do believe it was just, like, on a demo disc. You dudes and dudettes remember those, like, back when demos were, like, like, we used to have these discs that were just compilations of a bunch of demos of games that were in the process of coming out. Like, the one I remember the most, if we're talking Crash Bandicoot here, actually, is the one that was showcasing one of the levels in Crash Bandicoot Warped. It's the first water level. It's also in the first world. I do not remember. I think it's like Deep Trouble or something, the name of it. But, yeah. I'm trying to think what other games it had on it. This gem, this transparent, platform thing, very important to, go over later, because when it comes to just playing through this game from point A to point B, it's a very simple game. When it comes to fully completing it, that's a whole different beast altogether. So I'm sure you noticed that white gem I collected. How in the heck did I do that? Oops. Anyway, didn't like being interrupted by that explosion. If you guys recall, I grabbed a white gem at the end of the first level. That is known as a box gem. When you just break all the crates, or boxes as I like to call them, in the level, you are rewarded with a box gem. There are other different kinds of gems you can get in this game, which I'll go over later when I can go over them. But yeah. Oh no, Tana! Oh. I love that addition to this game, because from what I recall from videos I've seen online, in the original Crash Bandicoot, Tana just sort of, she's like standing there like a game show host, and you continue to ask yourself, why can't I just like take you with me? Like, what the hell? But again, speaking of Tana, let's go over the story real quick while I'm playing through the first world of this game. So, this guy named Neocortex is sort of mutating a bunch of animals to do his bidding. I don't exactly know what his true motive is, at least in this game. I want to say his motives are explained in the second and third game, but I feel like he's just trying to be a tirade. He's a mad scientist, and he's just trying to create an army of animals to, like, I don't know, take over these 3 islands we have here. This is our 2D platform stage, by the way. Ah! Notice that little token I just grabbed there? That's a Tana token. I was in a bonus level in the last level. when you find 3 Taunt tokens, or 3 tokens of one of 3 characters, I'll go over the other 2 later, you're rewarded with a bonus stage once you find all 3 tokens. And typically the last token will be found right in front of the bonus stage. So that gives you a pretty clear hint that if you only have like 1 or 2 of the tokens and you come across the bonus stage, it's an easy hint that you missed it earlier. And unfortunately, unlike Crash 1, the bonus levels are required to get all the boxes in the game. However, unlike the original Crash game, you can actually save your stinking game without having to go to the bonus levels, because for some reason there were 2 ways to save your game in the original Crash Bandicoot. One was getting access to this bonus stage, completing it, and Tana would save the game for you. As for the other one, you could choose every time you complete a stage with or without a gem, it provides you with this password that is about as long, if not longer, than the password in the Pandemonium game. I'm not sure if any of you guys played Pandemonium. It's a very strange platformer, and my mom used to play a lot. She also owned the second one. I guess it did well enough to get a sequel at the very least. I'll be going over that game at some point. I'm sure my mom would love to be a part of that, but that's a game for another day. But yeah, the passwords were just so absurd that you wouldn't bother to like write them down because of how much you had to input in order to load your game. And if you made a mistake, I believe you would have to redo the whole password again. Like, if you got it wrong, it just sort of resets everything. I'm only saying that on a whim, because again, my experience with Crash Bandicoot I've never played the first one, so again, take what I say with a grain of salt on that. Anyway, we got a little boulder chase sequence. We got a couple of these levels, not many, I want to say 2 or 3. Where you're running against the camera in order to avoid the boulder, and not gonna lie, the other boulder level we do later, I've had some trouble with during the test playthrough. And oh gosh, I'm sorry, my foot itched. But let's talk about checkpoints real quick. In the original Crash Bandicoot, in order to get one of the box gems that I mentioned, or one of the other special gems that, again, I'll go over later, you essentially had to go through the stage without dying, like, at all. If you died once, like that, you're asked out of the gem and you have to restart the stage. The checkpoint is meant to record your deaths, like, if you die, you respawn at the last checkpoint you hit. However, it doesn't record boxes, which is a huge problem. It's only worse when you either miss one box in one of these levels, or, like, worst of all, you get all the boxes, but then it'll tell you die. You're not rewarded the gem. In this game, that is almost fixed. All the box gems no longer have that problem, but there are some gems that do still have that issue. It's really terrible. Let's go over this world map real quick. The levels you enter have a little display on the top left and the top right. The top left shows the MacGuffins you can acquire. For example, you can get a gem, and the other thing, which I will actually be going over a little bit later, probably in the next part, because it's really not that big of a deal in this game, and it's only in it's only in this version of the game. And that's really it. There's also keys we could acquire later on, but that's for another time. Upstream! It's Aku. Yeah, this is the level I was talking about at the beginning. Like, Crash somehow survived, like, drifting from the ocean all the way to this island, but if you fall in this water, you die instantly. It counts as a death for some reason. Like, I guess Crash... I guess from a video game perspective, I guess Crash had a few extra lives to manage himself, so he just sort of lost those along the way. But it's still really silly. Jump across these. Oh gosh. Yeah, I'm just gonna give you all a fair warning. That since my experience with Crash 1 isn't all that, like, high, like, very little experience, I'm gonna be dying a lot. I have not gotten a game over in this game before, but that's probably only because how easy it is to get lives in this game. You're gonna die a lot, like, a lot, especially if you're trying to fully complete the game. Because there's going to be some points in some of the levels where you miss a box unintentionally, and you can't exactly go back for it. So you essentially have to kill yourself just to be able to get that box again. Thankfully, the bonus level doesn't have that issue. You can die as many times as you want. And it also does not count as an actual death in the level, which is awesome. Granted, it is mandatory for all the boxes now, but at the very least, it doesn't penalize you for dying in said bonus level. So I'm grateful for that. Cleared the stage, and unfortunately I didn't get all the boxes because there are certain prerequisites you have to meet in order to get some of the all the boxes. Anyway, it's time for our first boss. I've been going for, what is it, 17 minutes, so we're gonna tackle this boss real quick, and we're gonna call it apart. Papu. Okay, so just real quick, I have to wonder who designed this boss, because this guy is an absolute total joke. So what you're technically supposed to do is avoid the little thing, like avoid the little pole, and he'll slam it down, and then you just jump on him. However, I guess the game didn't give him invincibility frames in the middle of this, so you could just continue to jump on his head over and over and over again. He slams it down, and there you go. I kind of wish they didn't do that, but you know, it's the first boss. What are you gonna do? Hopefully that didn't hurt Crash. You sort of went through that ceiling pretty hard. You die to a lot of things really easily. Simply a skunk touching you apparently kills you. Alright, gonna save right here. Actually, what am I doing? It automatically saves. Wait, I save and it gives me a loading screen? Okay, that's kind of silly. Anyways, now that we managed to take down Papu and gotten a few gems along the way, I think it's safe to call it apart. Next time on Crash excuse me. Next time on Crash Bandicoot, we're gonna be exploring more of the first island and seeing what awaits us along the rest of this journey. So until then, I have to juice. Okay, oh my gosh, my voice cracked real badly there. I'm not good at that voice, I'm not gonna lie. I gotta juice, guys. See you.